Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the show. I'm Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Mariam Lunga, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. My banter, but I thought maybe we'll do, Nima would introduce the
what
elephant in the room. Yeah.
Okay, so quickly, this fabric we're wearing is an attempt to create a universal fabric print for us as Nigerians, just the way the Ghanaians have the kente, by a lady called Bola. So she sent this to a designer, to Bosch, to make it for us to wear on the show.
It's called One Nigeria.
It's the One Nigeria fabric. So it
nice.
represents everything Nigerian. The Arewa is there, the Benin is there, the Igbo mask is there, the the food basket of the nation, the Ife, and all of that is on the fabric.
It's good. It's a
and
good
you have
concept.
different prints of it.
It's a good concept. It's nice. It's good to have something like that.
There are countries that just have one material, like in Botswana, they have just one blue material that's universal.
That's what she's trying to do.
Nice. Thank you for the fabric. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
How are you doing? Busy. Want to say something very quickly?
So my friend told me something really disturbing, and I think most parents should be aware as our kids are going back to school. So she was talking that her daughter wears the shield in school. And in some other states, it's like their schools are fully resumed. So the child was playing and she fainted because she wasn't getting enough air through the shield. So luckily, of course, the teacher was paying attention and they took it off her. But I just thought that we should be careful because, you know, we're sending our kids back to school. The cloth masks really should be what the children should wear.
In our school, they don't allow the shield, just the cloth mask, because they give them opportunities to pull it down, you get in class, or maybe when you're about to eat, stuff like that. So, but yeah. How are you doing, BC?
I'm doing amazing. So,
what happened
I
this weekend?
reached out to, leave weekend first. I reached out to Nima that I wanted some natural spices for my cooking. I had exhausted mine. Yes. So, I don't know what happened though. This morning she came with a box of huge spices from a fan of mine who watches your view, Mrs. Dozier, aka Dozak, or Mama Ada. The way you're loving me, I'm loving you back.
Nice.
I was so shocked. I'm like, I said, Nima, how did you people have these conversations? What happened? Thank you so much. I really appreciate the love. Thank you.
Spices like
what do you get? Your curry, the natural one, the cinnamon and all of that. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I don't know. A weekend is just
that size I use for salad, so you don't run out of that size quickly.
It's going to last me for a while because I cook.
Nice. How you doing?
I'm fine. I have birthday shout out. So Mrs. Jokotade White today is her birthday, the 2nd of October, and then we had a shout out from
yesterday, right?
Yesterday,
yeah.
Yes. So if I wanted us to shout out to her husband, her name is Oluchi Jeremiah. Her husband, Mr. Atta Jeremiah, she's appreciating him for being so supportive and caring. She was bedridden for a while. He stood by her, and she thinks that, you know, he should be celebrated. I agree with you, and we must celebrate Mr. Atta Jeremiah today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It was his birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday.
And tomorrow there's one of my sisters, Princess Kazim. Tomorrow is her birthday. She's going to be 60.
Wow.
Happy Golden Jubilee in advance.
You say your
tomorrow.
sister?
Like an auntie, you know, she's a fan of the show.
I was wondering.
That being, no, not Lagos, Nigeria, Yoruba, everybody's a stand auntie. But it's like an auntie, fan, you know, she's a fan of the show, and she sent me an invite for tomorrow.
So let me quickly clear that Shade Jokotade that I shouted out to is YK's sister.
So
nice.
Real sister. Okay, that kind of sister.
Kind of sister.
Okay.
We need to find our own.
Okay, BC is my sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind
So,
of sister.
once you know somebody, their auntie, sister, you know, our mommy, our daughter. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Let's start with the Daily Sun today. Let's start with Daily Sun.
I didn't even see it.
Okay. You didn't read Daily Sun?
No, we didn't see it.
You didn't see Daily Sun?
There was no Daily Sun.
Let me just read the headlines.
Okay.
Revolution now protests rock Lagos, Osun, Edo, and Abuja. Afenifere Ohanaeze Middle Belt Forum, NEF faults Buhari's claims. Maize importation, CBN saves Nigeria from food crisis and farmers. Maina ex-pension task force boss begs Buhari for 30 days to recover lost $10 billion. IPOP sits at home succeeds, flops in other cities. Okay, so we didn't take any
There's you know, the stories, they have a way of repeating itself. So there's a story in the Sunday Revolution Now protest.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so they had the protest yesterday while the president was giving his speech and celebrating 60th Independence Day anniversary. So they had protests, they had the T-shirts on, they went out on the streets in major cities. I think they had in Lagos, Abuja, and some other states. But then they ran into police who was trying to, I think there was a particular story that the police van came in while they were just rounding up the protest and, you know, attacked one of the journalists, Jayola, yes. Attacked one of the journalists, and then he was just hit him with a baton. He fell down, he collapsed immediately, he was bleeding through his head, and they had to rush him to the hospital. But I'm happy with the Commissioner of Police who has said that he's receiving treatment now, and they are going to, they've found the culprit, yes, and they're trying to do, there's this inner room trial they are handling to, you know.
Okay, moving on to The Nation. Buhari, no going back on petrol subsidy removal. 9 million jobs coming as that's Africa Development Bank, Microsoft partner government. Flood sent 53,000 people to IDP camps. Edopo, we are collating facts, says Ize Yamu. IPOP sits at home call flops in Southeast. Okay, so our president's speech, or which one want to take?
The president of the African Development Bank.
Oh, yes,
they're looking at creating about 9 marketing digital jobs in partnership with Microsoft for Africans in the coming year.
10 years, actually.
In 10 years.
Said 10 years.
So they're looking at, you know, that area.
I was going to take Kebbi State because 53,000 people in IDP camps. They were unfortunately affected by the floods.
Oh, yes.
The entire community. These are human beings being displaced within their own state.
Governor, 4 communities around the River Rimi that is fed from the River Niger, of course, are farming communities, Argungu, and a lot of, about 4 of them, and they are rice farms. So we better understand how this has affected us. The figures he's giving are those in the camps, not those that are being accommodated by family members. So he's, you know,
I remember Lagos, we had a partnership with Kebbi State, Lake Rice. So that's affecting, obviously, Lake Rice across board. Moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. Independence Day speech, Adebanjo Yakasai, TUC, PDP, CAN, SMBLF, others knock Buhari. Gunmen planning raid on Ekiti police warn. Buhari blames Obasanjo Yar'Adua Jonathan for presiding over near destruction of Nigeria. Scores arrested as Nigerians protest. We have not left the military era, says Mbang, former Methodist prelate. And Nigeria can't fare better without restructuring, says Nkanga Pandev chairman. Okay, which story are we taking here in
yes, exactly. So
our president's Independence Day speech.
Yes, he made a speech and he said that we can no longer, that we are not going back to paying subsidy, that the price of fuel will be determined by market forces, and compared us to countries like Saudi Arabia, Chad, Ghana, saying that they are all producing states and they are paying way higher to like 362
over 300 naira
per liter. But he's come under attack. Different organizations, civil society groups are saying that they do not expect that from him, that he's supposed to give us more like a progressive speech, you know, give us plans on what we are going to do exactly, that his speech wasn't inspiring and people have been doing a lot. But he, in that speech, also went further to say that what they met in the government, they are trying as much as possible to cushion the effects. They have done trader money for traders, they've done farmer money, they've done school feeding program, they've done a lot of programs just to make sure that they, you know, sustain the people, and it's so far it's not working. So we all have to tighten our belt one way or the other.
So, I agree that I didn't think it was well thought through, that speech that he made. And I want to agree with the NLC president that, you know, we make a huge mockery of the biggest assemblage of black people on the planet. If at 60 we are unable to refine our own crude oil. So if you look at the countries that we're compared with, even Niger, the other day we took it in the paper, already has a refinery. Yeah. So we as a country, we should,
we need to do. So when the country tells you that they are working on, currently everybody's waiting for Dangote's refinery. Yes, it's in the works. It's not like if there's nothing happening. Something is in the works. Even
modular
our own refineries are obviously moribund, and they've not invested, and they're also giving private owners the license to do modular refineries. So if you look at it objectively, there are things happening, but at the same time, we are not seeing it. And that's probably the issue. And hey, what are you going to do? Moving on now to the Punch. PDP governors tackle Buhari over attack on Obasanjo, Jonathan and Yaradua. And a picture of our former president and his wife, baby. She looks great yesterday. Oh my goodness, did you see her?
I love this relationship.
Yeah, I don't like this one. In fact, our president is just hanging out with former president Jonathan.
It's a very powerful message.
I don't understand
the current president alongside past president.
Together.
Recently. Anyway, let's take the other human interest story. Protest over zealous cop brutalizes Punch journalist CP apologizes. Nursing mother detained in Lagos hospital over 95,000 naira debt. Nigerian leaders only care about themselves, says Sanusi. And let's find another story up here. FG will complete the $1.6 billion Lagos-Ibadan Railway by December, says Amaechi. Thank God he's our guest today.
So I have a human interest story.
Yes.
So the woman, there's a lady, a 27-year-old Blessy Bassi, has been owing a particular hospital. It's called Mojal Hospital in Church Street in Shasha area of Lagos. She has been there for 9 months, sleeping on the floor. She was rushed to the hospital while she was 7 months pregnant and had gone into a coma. She was quickly given a CS and her baby taken out. But after a month of staying in the hospital and being able to pay only 155,000 out of 350,000 hospital bill, she was asked to sleep on the floor and not to leave the hospital until she was able to pay the bill. The admin officer of the hospital, Mr. Salami Akindaya, says, see, it's not like we're bad people, but we have done this many times for so many people. Because she was asking, I've paid some, let me go out, work, and then I'll pay in installments. Yeah, right. But he says, we've done that for many people, and they've gone away with our money. I mean, she came in an emergency. But this is a cry for, for help for this lady, please. We should... I know a lot of people go to hospitals like that. Yeah. I know my mom has said that sometimes nurses even put money together for people like that. I know people who visit others when you see
and
people
there are
this
actually
way.
Organizations,
and it's just
95,000 there. So there are organizations, NGOs that actually support people like this. Yes. It's just that we don't know them. So we need to find some of these organizations that help you pay the bills. Yes. So once they're happy with our stock like this.
There are departments within the mother and child care hospitals in Lagos where they call it the welfare department. So after 2 weeks of sit-out, they call those patients sit-out patients. After 2 weeks of sit-out, they then look into your case and see how much of their charity they can channel to that. So it's sad that this is a private hospital. Okay,
let's move on to Vanguard. Hard knocks for Buhari over defense of fuel price hike. FG states others share 5.3 trillion in 8 months. Nigeria at 60 protests rock Oshogbo, Lagos, Abuja. Those claiming to represent North, South, or East are fighting for their pockets, says Sanusi. Nigeria PDP governors harp on national dialogue. Nigeria spends $5 billion on food imports, $1 billion on milk annually. And flooding over 52,900 victims in 175 IDPs camps in Kebbi, says so the governor.
Yes. Nigeria's imports of food, Nigeria spends about $5 billion and $1.5 billion on milk. Importing food in this country was stated by the Abdulkadir Muazu, the Permanent Secretary to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. This is a sad disclosure that is made at a workshop where they organized because, of course, we've shut our borders and there are certain, there's a ban on certain food imports. So we've banned the importation of rice. We've also banned the importation of dairy products. And some companies are saying only about 4 of them have a control. So you know that you're not sufficient in this area. You're not doing enough if you're acknowledging you're spending this amount of money.
But it's always that decision between the devil and the deep blue sea. Okay, do I shut my borders and force our farmers internally to produce only what we are to consume only what we can produce, or do I open our borders and continue to import and then
don't support our local?
It's always that
and subsidize the right things. So if you were subsidizing the farmers and you're making sure the farmers were able, the farmers are claiming to have a tough time on their hands.
Because you subsidize, then unfortunately they can't compete with the international.
Yes, they can't.
So those days, you come in and then the local farmers are having issues
selling local production of milk is tough on the farmers. Remember, we have a headers farmers clash and all of that.
You shut your borders to us, and so your traders and people in our markets to have to face some sort of, discomfort.
So it's always that, it's a tough decision, but it's unfortunate that we are the people that have to tighten our belts.
Yes.
That's the problem
So we need
have.
to make that
So the government also must show that they're also tightening their belts.
It's not just us.
That's the issue, because if you're still earning this salary, you're still buying big cars, the people don't see that you're making a sacrifice, and that's where the problem is.
You're still eating basmati
Unfortunately,
rice.
we have to move on. We are still in the celebratory mood, though, please.
Yes, okay.
No, me, I'm
we should calm down.
Okay.
We should be calming down.
I have
Happy 60th.
I'm always switching between celebration and lamentation. But I try really to comport
calming
myself.
down.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll discuss it, or we're sharing our hero of the week. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Welcome back. So, every Friday for the past couple of months now, we've been celebrating a hero of the week. Well, today, our hero of the week is Nigeria. And we'll tell you why we're celebrating Nigeria as our hero of the week. So, Mariam, I'd like you to start
So
with...
first of all,
Right.
after years of civil war between 1967 to 1970, 50 years after, the nation still remains indivisible.
Oftentimes, we've survived so many predictions of doom that the country will cease to exist by so year. After 60 years, we're still one country.
Yes, so...
Beautiful. Our democracy has been truncated so many times by military coup, but in the last 21 years, we've been experiencing uninterrupted democratic administrations, the longest in Nigeria's history.
Insurgency, though we are not where we ought to be, but we still need to be grateful for where we are. Hopefully, things will get better soon. Despite our numerous challenges and shortcomings, we still have a nation called Nigeria worth celebrating, because many people have been displaced from their countries, but we are still here.
We surmounted the dreaded Ebola, eradicated the destructive polio, and stemmed the tide of catastrophic coronavirus. We are grateful. We salute the Nigerian spirit. We are heroes.
So we give it up for the over 180 million Nigerians, because we are
all
the heroes. Yeah. I'm Nigerian.
Yeah, proudly so, proudly won.
So that's who we're celebrating today. Also, we'll be celebrating, as we also done all week, notable Nigerians who have contributed to our entertainment industry. We left the entertainment guys for today because we just felt that Friday is a day of celebration.
Yes.
But before we start mentioning the names, we have to remember Dr. Dora Akunyili. We forgot to mention her yesterday. We knew her. She actually totally revamped and revamped NAFDAC, started a whole movement where we began to understand how important to ensure that we had quality drugs for Nigerians' use. So we give it up for late Dr. Dora Akunyili. Any other people we missed out? A few people sent names to us yesterday. Do you have anybody? You don't have anybody in mind. Okay.
Oyeka Owenu.
Yes.
Should I go? Okay, I wanted to join.
Okay. But let us then start with our list of entertainment stars who have made us proud. As I said, the list is not exhaustive. There are people who will miss out. There's Two-Face, there's Gbogbo, we know them, but we just picked up a few, Please, I understand. So it's 20 names. Go ahead, Mariam, start with the list.
So the first person on the list for today is Professor Sir Victor Uwefo. Is a Nigerian musician, writer, sculptor, and musical instrument inventor. He also served as Commissioner for Arts and Culture in Edo State under the government of Lucky Igbenedium. Uwefo is famous for his Joromi music. He records under the name Sir Victor Uwefo. Then two, we have Bright Chimezie. It's a musician from Nigeria, of course. His music style became known as Zigima sound. It is a genre which became popular in the eastern part of Nigeria in the early 1980s. It is a mix of traditional Nigerian music and Igbo high life fused with chanted vocals. Then we have King Dr. Chief Oliver Diko, was a Nigerian guitarist and one of Africa's most prolific recording artists. Oliver is also considered as the most flamboyant Igbo musician, attracting international attention with a London performance in 1973. He died at the age of 61 in 2008. And we have the beautiful, delectable Joke Silva.
Yeah.
She's a Nigerian actress,
Yes.
director, and businesswoman. She began her career in film in the early 1990s. In 1998, she had a major role in the British-Canadian film The Secret Laughter of Women. On 29 September 2014, she received recognition as a member of the Order of the Federal Republic.
And number 5.
Oh,
yes.
Oludotun Bayewu Jacobs, known, her husband, of course, known professionally as Olu Jacobs, is a Nigerian actor and film executive. He has starred in several British television series and international films. Olu Jacobs has been hailed by many as one of the greatest and most widely respected African actors of his generation for his dedication to his acting career spanning over 5 decades. He was honored with the Industry Merit Award for Outstanding Achievement in Acting.
Whoop, 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 whoop. That's our first 5.
Amazing.
So the next 5.
Number 6, Ebenezer Obey,
Yes,
popularly
so-
known as the Chief Commander. He's a Nigerian juju musician. He began experimenting with Yoruba percussion style and expanding on the band by adding more drum kits, guitars, and he is also renowned for Christian spiritual themes in his music and has since the early 1990s retired into Nigerian gospel music ministry. Number 7, General Ayinla Kollington. Kollington is a veteran Fuji musician. He ranks one of the most important artists to dominate Fuji music from his inception in the 1970s through to the 1990s, by which time it had grown to become one of the most popular dance genres in Nigeria. At the start of the 1980s, he started his own recording company, Kollington Records, to release his music and remains to this day an extremely prolific artist, having recorded over 50 albums. Number 8, Charlie Boy. Born Charles Chukwuemeka Oputa is a Nigerian singer, songwriter, television presenter, publisher, and producer. He is one of Nigeria's most controversial entertainers.
Yes, sir.
He's best known for his alternative lifestyle, political views, and media productions, most notably The Charlie Boy Show. Number 9, Amaka Igwe was a Nigerian filmmaker and broadcasting executive. She was the owner of Top Radio 90.9 Lagos and Amaka Igwe Studios. She was recognized as one of the second-generation filmmakers who helped begin the video film era in the cinemas. She remained a prominent figure in the industry until her death in 2014, resulting from asthma attack. On January 2nd, 2020, Igwe was honored on her 57th posthumous birthday with a Google Doodle.
Nice.
Number 10, Omoyeni Anikulapo Kuti. YK in the building.
Yo, yo, yo.
Singer and descendant of the Ransom Kuti family. Her grandmother was a Nigerian women's rights activist, Fumilayo Ransom Kuti. Yeni pioneered the idea of Felabration Music, a festival conceived to celebrate the life and contributions of her father, Fela Kuti, to the Nigerian society. She currently serves as a co-manager of the New African Shrine alongside her brother Femi Kuti.
And the
She's
co-host.
currently the co-host of Your View TVC. Finally, Onyeka Onwenu on my personal list is a Nigerian singer, songwriter, actress, and human rights activist.
Yes.
She's a social activist, she's a journalist, politician, and former X Factor series judge. Dubbed the Elegant Stallion by the Nigerian press. She's a former chairperson of the Imo State Council for Arts and Culture, known popularly for her music, Ejim Gugwa, Ejim Gugwa.
I don't know how we missed that, but yes, Onyeka definitely deserves to be on that list.
Yes, she does.
Yes, ma'am. Next 5.
Number 11 is Idowu Phillips, popularly known as our very own Iya Rainbow. She's a Nigerian veteran actress. She ventured into full-time acting after the death of her husband, Augustine Ayonfemi Phillips, who worked closely with the late patriarch of Nigerian film industry, Dr. Sir Albert Ogunde. She's featured in several Nigerian films. Number 12 is Shola Shobowale, our Toyin Tomato. She's a Nigerian actress, screenwriter, director, and producer. Shola has been in the industry for decades. Over the years, she had scripted, co-scripted, directed, and produced several Nigerian films. In 2019, she received the African Movie Academy Awards for Best Actress in a leading role for her role in 2018 Nigerian film King of Boys. Well deserved. Number 13 is Richard Eyimofe Evans Mofe Damijo, popularly known as RMD. He's a Nigerian actor and former commissioner for culture and tourism in Delta State. In 2005, he won the African Movie Academy Awards for Best Actor in a Leading Role. He's received a Lifetime Achievement Award at the 12th African Movie Academy Awards in 2016. Number 14 is Chief Herbert Adedeji Ogunde. He was a Nigerian actor, playwright, theatre manager, and a musician who founded the first contemporary professional theatrical company in Nigeria, the African Music Research Party, in 1945. He has been described as the father of Nigerian theatre or the father of contemporary Yoruba theatre. In his career on stage, he wrote more than 50 plays, most of which incorporates dramatic action, dance, and music with a story reflecting the political and social realities of the period. Number 15 is Moses Olaiya, popularly known as Baba Salah. He was a Nigerian comedian, dramatist, and actor. He was regarded as the father of modern Nigerian comedy. He was a prolific filmmaker. He started his career in the show business as a high life fronting in 1964, a group known as the Federal Rhythm Dandies.
Okay, fantastic. So the final five, but we're going to have also probably mention other names anyway. But the next five is Sikiru Ololade Ayinde Balogun MFR, better known as Ayinde Barrister. Is that not the Fuji cabbage?
Yes,
was a Nigerian Yoruba songwriter, singer, music performer. He is regarded as a pioneer of Fuji and Were music. He earned so many notable awards during his lifetime and music career. However, the most significant is the conferment of the honored member of the Order of Niger, MON. Next is our very own Salawa Beni
gentle lady herself.
Gentle lady, she's a Nigerian singer. She began her professional career in waka music when she released her debut album titled Late General Murtala Ramat Muhammad in 1976. On the leader, it became the first recorded by a female artist in Yoruba songs to sell over 1 million copies in Nigeria. She was crowned Queen of Waka Music by Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Adeyemi in 1992. Next is Adeyemi Afolayan, also known as Adelove, was a Nigerian film actor, director, and producer. In 1976, he produced and starred Ija He directed Kadara, also called Destiny in English. This was the first movie he wrote, produced, and starred as leading actor. The music was shown at the 9th Tashkent Film Festival for African and Asian Cinema. Number 19 is Tunde Kelani, popularly known as TK, the Nigerian filmmaker, storyteller, director, photographer, cinematographer, and producer. In career spanning over 4 decades, TK specializes in producing movies that promote Nigeria's rich cultural heritage and have a root in documentation, archiving, education, entertainment, and promotion of culture. Last but not least is Christy Oduak Esien Igbokwe. MFR was a Nigerian musician and actress called Nigeria's Lady of Songs. She was known for her song. Sheonrere Esien was the first female president of the Performing Musicians Association of Nigeria, PMAN, and the chairwoman and managing director of Soul Train Entertainment. I'd like to add Ali Baba to that list.
Oh, yeah.
Ali Baba is the king of comedy, modern comedy, also king of stage comedy. He's been renowned as the father of almost all comedians today. And many of them revert to him as the veteran in the industry. So we celebrate him also alongside all these other entertainers. Anybody else come to mind?
Not an entertainer.
Okay.
Me, I have singers.
I have not an entertainer. Should I say someone is not an entertainer?
It's fine.
But his name is Sim Shagaya. He's a Nigerian media and technology entrepreneur. He's the founder and CEO of ULesson Education Limited, an app built to make education available to learners across Africa. He's the founder and former CEO of one of West Africa's largest electronic commerce website, Konga.com, and founder of eMotion Advertising. and a leading out-of-home media company acquired in 2019 by Lostat Media. In 2014, he was named in Forbes' list of 10 most powerful men in Africa. He is the son of the Soil in Plateau State, and I think a good example and hope for what young people in that state can do.
Fantastic. Well done. So congratulations to all the people on our list today. Happy Independence Day again to all Nigerians. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, going back to factory status. Joining us on the show this morning is Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi. He is the current Minister of Transportation in Nigeria. Welcome, sir, to the show. Are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you. All right, so because we have a lot to cover, we're going to go right into it. So some analysts are saying that the cost of constructing some of these projects that you've highlighted for us in the past 1 year or so, compared to other countries within Africa, that the costs are so high. Some have also said that these contractors pad up these costs. Could you help us get clarity if we are indeed getting the true value for the cost of constructing many of these roads and rails across the country?
Talk is cheap. It's the struggle that is that's the problem. Why not ask them to bring facts? One problem we have in Nigeria is the issue of statistics. For you to say those things, why not compare apple for apple? Let them show us where that they have seen that construction of railway is cheaper than what we're doing in Nigeria. That is important. I don't see why they will come to that conclusion when even some countries construct railway for about $5 million per kilometer, some 6. I think in Nigeria, some of our cases are $4.5 million per kilometer. So I don't think they are right unless they confront me with a comparative cost analysis between, say, Kenya, for instance, or Zambia, for instance, and Nigeria. I don't have that facts.
Okay, sir. Recently, you said that you were looking for money to begin work on the Lagos to Calabar rail and the Port Harcourt to Maiduguri rail because of a lot of...
I can hear you.
I said recently. Can you hear me now, sir?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, good. So you were talking about trying to raise money for the Lagos Calabar rail and the Port Harcourt Maiduguri rail as well. And you mentioned that this is because foreign investors have shown interest in the Nigerian rail system. What informs the infrastructure to develop within Nigeria? Is it all the time about foreign investors or what Nigerians need?
No, I never said about foreign investors on the rail. I just talked about contractors and the fact that they're able to raise the loan for us to do the construction. Again, I want to challenge anybody to show me where railway has been constructed based on foreign investment. It has always been the government funding railways. Where I talked about foreign investors is in the railways, is in the maritime sector, where I said that the Lekki Deep Sea Port is being constructed under PPP, and then the Bonny Deep Sea Port to be constructed under PPP, as well as the Warri Seaport.
Okay, sir. The president last Tuesday inaugurated the 326-kilometer Itakpe-Ajaokuta-Warri rail line for commercial operations 30 years after the project was conceived. Is it up and running now? The question is because sometimes we see commissionings done on uncompleted projects.
Well, give us another 1 week. Okay. By 1 week, we will start running, and gradually, I believe the passenger count will increase. We've been running before we stopped for commissioning, and the passenger count was just about 100 passengers in a day. We know that with time we'll improve to 300 to 500 depending on how it is. Unlike Kaduna, Abuja, where you have about 4,000 passengers per day.
Okay. All right, sir. Can you kindly tell us the economic viability of all of these projects that we have now? What's in it for us as a country?
First is railway does not put money on the table of the federal government. Railway is more like a social project. And if railway is more like a social project, what you're going to see will be that we'll be creating jobs. By the time you have about, in fact, let's take the one of Lagos-Ibadan. Lagos-Ibadan generated over 20,000 direct jobs. Indirect jobs are numerous, and we cannot say how much it has generated in terms of indirect jobs. Again, when you deal with railways, you talk about movement of goods, you talk about movement of persons, you talk about employment creation, you also talk about encouraging industrialization and manufacturing. That's what railway is about. These are the benefits that will happen. I've told you, well, not TVC. I just had an interview with AIT where I say that about 46% of manufacturing cost, 46% of manufacturing cost is borne by transportation. So if you remove that cost, now you will see that you've been able to save manufacturers about 54%. Well, all they will add will be 54%, so you've saved them about 46%. That's how it is.
All right, so let's talk about this issue of borrowing for these infrastructural projects. So we've borrowed $1.4 billion for the Lagos-Ibadan rail line. We borrowed $4.3 billion for the Ibadan to Kano, and we're about to also borrow to construct the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri. Now, the issue is that considering our debt profile, considering the fact that even our revenue is dwindling, how do you think we expect to pay back some of these huge loans?
How do I think that what?
How do we expect to pay back these huge loans from that we're getting this money from abroad? What, in your view?
That's the question you ask the Minister for Finance. The responsibility of Ministry of Transport is to ask Ministry of Finance to give them the resources for construction of rail lines. And when they give it to us, we construct. To pay back is the responsibility of Ministry of Finance. It could be in the course of construction, I mean, at the end of construction, if we run it efficiently, but hardly can you recover because rail lines are subsidized. Rail transportation is subsidized. So it will be difficult to say you can pay back from.
Let me be sure I get you right. You're saying as a minister, your job is to go and find the loan, build, and let the finance ministry worry about how they're going to pay back the loan. Is that what you're saying in essence?
No, I didn't say that. Oh. I said both how to find the loan and how to pay back. It's not the responsibility of Ministry of Transport. That is the responsibility of Ministry of Finance. My responsibility is to get the money and construct the railway. So I wouldn't be able to discuss the issue of how and when the country will pay back, but we must comply with the terms of and agreements of the loan.
All right, let's go on a quick break. We'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Yes, Nima had a question.
Yes, so just following what you concluded on last time, that we have to find out ways to pay, and that's the responsibility of the Ministry of Finance. Let's discuss the terms of this contract that everybody has been discussing. You know, the House where you were before the House committee on, I think, on the contract, and they were going at the terms of this contract, that there was a sovereignty clause. What exactly are the terms? How should we be afraid, you know, if Nigeria should default? What are the consequences for defaulting? Mm-hmm. And then also, I want you to use the example of the Sri Lanka ports taken over recently by China, you know, to understand my question.
Yes, I was going to add to that. So, for example, the issues that happened in Sri Lanka, the forfeiture of their national assets in Sri Lanka, Tanzania, and Zambia. Should we be worried? Because if we default, just like Nima said, we might have to lose some of our assets.
Let me ask you, you young ladies, a question. Would you like to borrow money and not pay back?
No, of course not. But life happens.
Life happens. Because unfortunately, we've not been able to generate enough revenue.
Don't worry. This life won't happen.
Amen.
We have never been known. Don't do that here business. We have never been known to have not paid our loans. Neither have we been known not to keep to the terms of agreement. So if the terms of agreement include the fact that if you don't pay back, they would confiscate any property that is part of the loan agreement, then so be it. But then we should work towards repayment. You can't have built all these infrastructures. Don't worry, young ladies. By that, I won't give you that opportunity. Let's say by January, we'll be running Lagos to Ibadan. And I'll be glad if you use it and see how you feel, whether you repeat the question you asked me now, or you'll be satisfied that you have a good investment in terms of infrastructure. I asked Nigerians these questions. When we had money, when Obasanjo said he left $68 billion in our excess crude account, why couldn't we have consulted railway with all that money? Because don't forget, I have said here that to connect the whole of Nigeria, you need about nearly $36 to $40 billion to connect the whole of state capitals. And that would be the whole country. Why didn't we do it then when we had money? Why would we fritter away the funds? And then we come in with no funds. We are doing very much with very little. And I think that what you can say is that we will pay back our loans. So what happened in Sri Lanka will not happen here.
Okay.
So this is not the first time our country has we've had a problem of debt. So the Obasanjo administration you mentioned had to do, get this our debts waived in the past. You know, there's a likelihood of mismanagement. There's also that likelihood, and your administration is just going to be there 4 years. It's not going to be forever. That's a continuum. I think shouldn't there be that concern of more lenient terms in our contracts for our people?
So somebody gives you, let's start. I don't know how much you were not correct with the figures you read out. Let's start with Lagos Ibadan. Lagos Ibadan is 1.6 billion, out of which we contributed 15%. We intend to borrow $5.1 billion for Ibadan to Kano and borrow $3.3020 billion for Port Harcourt Maiduguri. We're working towards to get money for Lagos Calabar. Now, somebody lends you all this money, say 10 billion, say 20 billion, and then you say, oh, please forgive me, forgive me. Well, we have had debt forgiveness before, but that shouldn't be the aim. The aim should be that we should pay back. And to pay back, there are so many things we can do. We are doing new seaports in Lekki in Lagos. We are going to build a new seaport in Bonny, near Port Harcourt. So you don't money from there. You expect that it should go to the national till, from which you can also pay back. You can also pay back if we begin to push manufactured cargoes to different areas of the country and run efficiently. We'll be able to generate some funds, which we can also use to pay back. Finally, if we don't mismanage our crude oil investment, we should also be able to pay back from there. But what is critical is that the cost of transportation, the cost of building this infrastructure now will not be the same in the near future if you don't build now.
Yeah. Sir, it's very commendable, of course, what the ministry is doing, putting this infrastructure together. So this interview is not really about just critiquing, the ministry, but also we have a culture of where we do not have proper maintenance of our infrastructure. And I want to understand, the Ministry of Transportation and the infrastructure you're putting down, is that all the ministry is expected to do, or does it have another contractual agreement with companies, individuals, about concerning the maintenance of this infrastructure we'll put, so that this will take us, we're able to get our money back, reinvest, and things like that, if it's properly maintained?
Well, we do have a contractual agreement that has to do with maintenance, but must we continue to rely on the Chinese? That's why we're building 2 universities. That's why we're going to train our Nigerian young men who we have sent. We sent about 150% to China to be educated in railway engineering. When they come back, we believe that what the Chinese need to do is to transfer the technology so we can maintain this thing by ourselves. Secondly, Abuja Kaduna is due for maintenance, and another problem is cost of the maintenance. And we'll do it, whether we like it or not. We'll do a maintenance from Abuja to Kaduna. So there is a maintenance contract.
All right, so I'm curious to how a project or a construction is started. Is it like, do we do what I call a comparative analysis or comparative study of what is obtainable in other climes? Like we have a problem of quality of materials in whatever infrastructure we're doing here. In your administration, have you tried as much as possible to see what is obtainable out there and bring it in here in terms of quality so that we can have projects and infrastructure that last us a long time?
You don't do quality of infrastructure by traveling to the neighboring country or any country. What you do is, during construction, you appoint the client's project managers. So we currently have in all our projects, we have client's project manager whose responsibility is to ensure that quality is maintained. And the client's project managers for nearly all our projects is TIM. TIM is an engineering firm from Italy that is based in Nigeria. It's been based in Nigeria for about 30 years now, and they've been efficient. And if you can see what work was done in Abuja, Kaduna. If you're free, next week we're in Lagos for further inspection of Lagos Ibadan. You will see the kind of quality of work. I have a friend. I have two friends who are both our friends and critics. One works with you or comes to use your TVC. His name is Sam Omashaye. The next person is Chibuike Amaechi. And one day I took them on a ride, and I can tell you their confession. And it was in the newspapers. They said we're doing quite a lot, and we're making very little noise. We should try and increase the volume of our noise so that people will know what we're doing. In the same manner, like I've done with other journalists, I'm inviting you next week to accompany us on a ride. Even though it's not a ride, we're going to walk, we're going to inspect the project, because we're near a conclusion. We'll be able to conclude by December. Are you sure you will?
Yes, if you invite us, we would love to. We would love to see the project. We need to be on ground, sir, to see what you're doing.
All right,
Next
let
week.
me
I don't want to tell the. Hold on now. I don't want to tell the public when I will be in Lagos next week, so that nobody will harass me.
All right.
Okay.
But I'll be able to, after this interview, try through your Abuja studio to get your telephone number, any of you.
Okay, sir.
And I'll tell you that by next week we should be in Lagos. And then
No problem,
I'll be
sir.
glad if the four of you can accompany me.
No
problem.
Love to go. So the question
And
about-
promise me that you will display it and that you will confess what you see before
We are
Nigerians.
for
You see,
Nigeria.
the thing is that, listen, I can almost predict that, yes, you have certain things in Lagos, but I would really like to know what you have elsewhere. So taking me around Lagos, I don't know if I'm going to be impressed by that, but let's see how it is first. Then, because we're more
Are you
concerned.
willing to go on a ride? Are you willing to go on a ride from Itabe to Warri?
Yeah,
Which
speaking.
about 3 to-
Lagos is, you
what
can
we're
almost
talking-
predict that Lagos is,
Will be good.
yeah. Okay, Nima, let me let you jump in before I ask
So
my
this
question.
Okay, what?
Niger Republic,
There's a question for you, sir, please.
yes. So the
Yes.
Niger Republic rail line that is being proposed, the one that supposedly, according to your people, has to end at the Niger Republic border, is of concern to most of Nigerians because, of course, the one that ends at the Cotonou border has been abandoned for years. Why the priority? Why is that one more important? Why not, prioritize completion of the one that serves, and the roads as well that serves that area of town, of the country?
I'm not aware that anyone that went at Cotonou border. So if you know, please
The
take me there.
Lagos,
I'll
the
probably
Lagos
take it
rail
there.
line proposed by Lagos State in partnership is something that is national, sir, on the Badagry corridor.
Okay, so
Yes.
we're not Lagos State. We have not, as a country, decided to construct any rail line to Cotonou. So if Lagos State government is constructing, please kindly meet the state governor or the commissioner for works. We, as Minister of Transport, there is no rail line from Lagos to Cotonou. Let me discuss.
The Nigeria.
Kano to Maradi. Kano to Maradi. Now, Kano to Maradi is, the decision to invest in Kano to Maradi is purely economics, no politics. People are the people politicizing it. I made that decision because there's a competition between the littoral states, the coastal states of Nigeria, Benin Republic, Togo, and Ghana. The other 3 countries are able to move cargoes from these landlocked countries to their seaports, and for either export or import. They're able to do those business. We are not able to do them because the landlocked countries are complaining of crime, that the roads are not safe in Nigeria, the roads are not properly paved, and then there is custom interference, there is police checkpoints here and there, and therefore they find it difficult to do business with the Nigerian seaports. So to be able to attract those cargoes, we decided to construct a rail line from Kano to Maradi. Just Maradi is a village in Niger Republic. And then we'll build warehouses there so we can attract cargoes from neighboring countries and transport it to either Tinkan Island Seaport or to Apapa Seaport for either onward movement outside the country, or to make them import through our seaports, and we drop it off for them at Maradi. They can then use their cargo. Nobody has talked about the employment that this investment will generate. Nobody has talked about the economic benefits. Nobody has talked about the fact that we will raise funds for the country, and that the economic interest by far, both financial interest by far outweighs the current investment. We are no fools to want to take a rail line to Maradi. That would be wrong.
Okay, let me ask, I really worry, Mr. Minister, when government begins to get involved in these kinds of projects, because we've seen government over the years haven't really maintained many of our projects. And I'd like to go back to what Mariam said earlier, because you see other people, maybe they get concessionaires who actually take over these projects and then becomes profitable over time, which helps maintenance. But when government begins to provide rail lines, cargoes and all that, I worry that in the next 20 years or so, these things will be dilapidated. What are you putting in place to ensure that in the next 30, 40, 50 years, these infrastructures don't get dilapidated the way those infrastructures we had, like the National Theatre, the National Stadiums, all has dilapidated under government's control?
What's your name again?
My name is Murayo.
Okay. Now, what you should know is that these contracts come with maintenance, but that's not enough excuse. I've already said it before. It is important that Nigerians take over the issue of maintenance. Secondly, in terms of construction, there is nowhere in the world that construction of railway is done by partnership or PPP, nowhere. If you have any place, I'll be glad to be educated. Like I said, if you're willing to come on inspection next week, we'll be with you. Then you can educate me to tell me who were the which countries that successfully had a PPP arrangement in the construction of railway. However, what occurs is that government is able to lease out the track to companies that are able to purchase rolling stocks and then take a franchise and run on our tracks and pay us over the years. What do we do about maintenance? If we succeed in the training of our engineers, then whoever succeeds me as a minister would have the necessary manpower for maintenance. The other problem with maintenance is the fact that when the railway is not efficiently run and therefore cannot raise money to maintain itself, that becomes a problem. Then you fall back to government. What we intend to do is to ensure that at all times we have resources to be able to do maintenance on the railway. Just imagine Kaduna Abuja. I wish you've been able to use Kaduna Abuja. We have maintained Kaduna Abuja from 2016 to the present day, and we are still government. Those who constitute themselves as private sectors are the same human beings as those who constitute themselves as public sectors. The other problem is consequences for action. Because most times people are not punished for negligence when they are public officers. That's why you have poor maintenance.
All right, so recently we heard that there's a 100% rise in the fare in the Abuja-Kaduna rail, and Nigerians are worried that what happens if all of these projects are up and running? How affordable is it going to be for them?
But it's still affordable. The cheapest means of transport in the world is railway, and Nigerian railway is no different. The fact that we introduce a slight increase in costs of transportation to Kaduna from Abuja does not mean it's still not the cheapest. Have you seen a mode of transportation that the passengers were begging for an increase. In fact, some of social media people say that our coaches were running empty. They should go and check what's happening now. That's the reason why you have tickets like a racketeering, because the pressure has started building again. So we'll have to move more coaches from Lagos to Kaduna to be able to accommodate the increase. So instead of falling, the number is rising.
Okay, yes, talking about ticket racketeering, we have a Twitter here. Says, when will ticketing at the Abuja-Kaduna train stations be automated and digitalized?
We're in the process. It's not a plan. We've gotten approval. The contractor, the concessionaire, not the contractor. The concessionaire is on site, but you can't see her until she concludes and upload what she's doing. So I would say that they should, before the end of the year, we should be able to upload it and then start electronic ticketing.
Right. Okay, so another area of concern is the security of all of this infrastructure. You know, recently there was a question of whether hoodlums or bandits attacked the Kaduna-Abuja train-bound rail at the time. What exactly are you doing to continue to beef up security around the operating rail lines? What's government doing?
Why do you believe these rumor mongers in social media? Okay, simple. Which news? Which news? Don't behave like those Nigerians who said Amaechi has a bank account in Bangkok. Bangkok is in Minnesota also.
Do you have?
And that that's yes. And that Paul interviewed me, and I confessed, and I've written to the president that they should return the money to River State government. I stole it and put it. Those are the rumors you hear. Now let's go to the transportation. So if there was actually an attack, the glasses where the driver of the train was sitting was attacked, and then the driver did not sustain any injury, did not die, and he said he was attacked. What happened was that around Kubwa, children threw stones at the rail. At the train, and it hit the glass of the locomotive where the driver was sitting. And the train stopped, and they went after the children. That's one. Two, in all our train services, we have enough police and civil defense, and we are protected also from the air. So what's there to fear?
Okay, so
we want to continue on this.
No, just a follow-up that. So there are no concerns, even in the future, about the security of these trains on rails.
We have put security measures in place, and you know, like you said earlier, that we don't have more than 4 years as a government. So when we leave, I don't know what will happen after we have left. But the truth is that between now until we leave, we'll continue to sustain the security measures that we have in place. We have railway police, we have railway civil defense, we have gotten involved the Air Force to protect us from the air and see what's happening on ground. So currently, nobody has the capacity to attack our train. He will be arrested.
Okay, let's talk about the ports, how we can decongest the ports. People have said that we need to obviously get more of these other ports working, active, so that the Lagos ports can be a bit freer and to reduce the congestion we have. What are you doing to help in that?
Well, first step to decongest the Lagos port is the railway line. So we're taking the railway straight to the seaport so we can move cargoes quickly without having to go through the roads. That's one. Two, all the seaports in Nigeria are capable of receiving or taking away cargoes. So there's nothing to say, oh, you have to fix the seaport in Nigeria to be able to decongest Lagos. The problem is that there are those who are benefiting from security. There's a particular company that has partnered with government. Let me not call the government agency, and they're busy collecting money on the sea and benefiting from insecurity. When you have such people who benefit from insecurity, how do you think that people will be able to use the seaport in Port Harcourt, the seaport in Warri, the seaport in Calabar, and all that, when some of these things are sponsored just for these people to be making the money they're making?
Which company is that?
No, I won't call the name. I don't want anybody to sue me to court.
Okay, while we're
But
still on maritime...
government is dealing with it.
Okay. So while we're still on maritime, they're talking of maritime security. There's lots of news about piracy attacks on vessels, kidnapping, and there's an International Maritime Bureau in the fourth quarter of 2019 says 64 seafarers were kidnapped in the waters of West Africa. And most of these pirate groups are suspected to be, operating from Nigeria. What is the ministry doing about this?
We have a $195 million contract with an Israeli firm to provide security in the water. They should give us some time. We're working out the details and deal with it.
Right.
So there's a plan to link all the ports, destination at Apapa to Tinkan, Warri, One, Calabar ports, just to have that rail link to all of that. When are we hopefully going to see a realization of this?
Oh, they're working.
They've started.
Once you award the contract of any of the rail lines, work starts from the rail line. Currently, that's why I say if you're available next week, the inspection will start from the Apapa Seaport, so you can see for yourself that they're working at the Apapa Seaport. We hope that they will conclude before the end of December, so that we can commission this project by January. That will take away cargoes from Apapa Seaport up to Ibadan, pending when we complete Ibadan to Kano. The next one is that we are linking Tinkan Island Port to Apapa Seaport, so that you can evacuate through the rail line up to Ibadan too, and work on that will commence as soon as the Ministry of as soon as the Cabinet approves the contract.
All right. Last week in the papers, we saw about 2,000 buses being given out from the federal government. Could you tell us more about this?
No, I don't know about that. It's not Ministry of Transportation.
Well, the top blue. Okay, I thought it was from your ministry. Okay,
no. We don't do much with land transportation.
Okay, so we have a tweet. This person says, Nigerians, we're forward thinking. So please help us ask the Honorable Minister, how soon will Nigeria have a fast train that can fly Abuja to Lagos in 3 hours or less?
No, not 3 hours. That's a bullet train. What will assure you is that by the time we get to the Lagos Ibadan, by the time it gets to Abuja, you'll be able to do Abuja in 6 hours.
Right. Let's take a few more tweets.
Tweets are not so...
So your relationship with the Honorable Minister of Works, because obviously both of you should be working hand in hand, his roads and your transportation. In your view, how is it that your ministries are ensuring that we have the road expansion is working as fast as the rail, such that we can decongest all the major cities, transportation and road construction within the major cities? How are both ministries working hand in hand?
Okay, well, first we are friends. Secondly, we are governors at the same time. Thirdly is that as Minister for Transportation and he is Minister for Works, we are working to ensure that heavy-duty trucks or trucks that carry heavy-duty cargoes must use the train in areas that we provided the train, so that we're able to protect and save our roads.
So Saifan is asking you to talk about the e-ticket and when exactly, what's the time frame for it to be ready?
December.
No. Before December.
I think before December. I'll be on the young lady who won the concession. I'll be on her, because I had told her that before October this should be in place, but she did not achieve that. So, but I can assure you that before December this must be in place. Okay, so I like the video I'm seeing. You can see the old narrow gauge, how bad it was.
So Bolu Yinka is saying, what is your response to the alleged sharp practices in the ticket sales along the Abuja-Kaduna route? Have you checked? Okay.
That's that question. Okay. We have to wrap up with you, sir. So you've given us quite a bit of deadline, December, January. We'd like to bring you back sometime in January to confirm if indeed all these your...
no, after we have gone.
Well, you guys go. You let us know how.
Why not make that appointment as we take the train ride, so that you can see whether we'll keep the.
Exactly.
You really want this train ride?
I want this train ride already.
Yeah, we have to be there.
I'm daring you.
I am not particularly interested in this train ride, but I'll let the ladies go and we'll see how far you've gone.
Talk is.
Okay, Warri, I like to go, but not ladies.
Talk is cheap.
Okay,
Talk
all right.
is cheap.
Thank you, sir. for joining us. I think it was actually interesting having you. We've never had you on this show before. It's been nice to have you because I like it when minister says, oh, by these dates, we'll now bring them back.
So
we'll hold you. We're going to hold you for January. If Lagos Ibadan is not ready.
I said, I dare you. See what happened.
Okay.
Okay,
all right.
because we have a tweet that says that I really like the way the minister is talking, but I hope it's not just talk and there's action behind it. So
Exactly.
we hope when we bring you back, you'll be able to tell Nigerians that you're also action.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. We appreciate you being here this morning. We
Are
have to
you
wrap up.
accepting the challenge of the
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've been to the Lagos Abeokuta Rail. I went just on my own to inspect certain things in
We'll see.
2019.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We were speaking with the Minister of Transportation, Mr. Rotimi Amaechi. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. It was a pleasure having you this morning.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, guys, I think that's all we can take. He's a very interesting guy. Very interesting.
Tweets were not so funny.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll
Because
see.
I always tell Nigerians, I tell our people that, listen, if the ladies can be convinced, because we were going to be very objective. So when you guys go there, we'll see, and we'll tell you exactly what we saw. But I don't want them to show us the nice things. I want us to go to the places that is not very nice, so that we can see they're really working.
I
But
know when they're expecting the minister, it's going to be different from
Yes,
when
now.
regular. It's when Nigerians start when we
Impromptu
get
visits.
Yes, that's when we know.
Anyways, have a fabulous weekend. Again, we're still in the celebratory mood, so celebrate what we can, and we'll see you Monday. Bye for now.